va llegando Salman, pero para no ir perdiendo más tiempo, simplemente presentaros muy rápidamente a nuestros tres invitados de esta conversación. Tres personas con mundos muy diferentes. Paula Ortiz, con esa profunda sensibilidad poética, ¿no?, que explora los conflictos humanos desde una estética visual sin duda cargada de muchísimo simbolismo, un cine que nos aporta y donde no pierde nunca el sentido de la realidad y su belleza visual, pero donde no adorna el dolor, sino que lo revela con claridad y dignidad. Para mí un acto de resistencia también frente a lo absurdo. Nuestro otro invitado, Mohamed Mahdy, que articula su exploración íntima y crítica de comunidades marginadas, la memoria colectiva, la desaparición de formas de vida amenazadas por el olvido, la violación o el abandono, una sensibilidad hacia lo invisible, lo silenciado y también buscando siempre la dignidad, ¿no?, de quienes apuesta y de quienes retrata, una ética y una mirada honesta. Y Salman, nuestro artista también palestino, también cofundador del colectivo Ahafaf, que ha desarrollado pues, un universo creativo profundo, arraigado en la resistencia cultural, en la imaginación colectiva, con su proyecto que seguro nos va a transmitir Sahab. Y bueno, Salman no se resigna ante la adversidad, sino que utiliza justamente la creatividad como forma de resistencia. Ambos tres desde esa ética camusiana de compromiso, lucidez frente a las injusticias. Con ellos os dejo.
Bueno, creo que empiezo yo. Voy a hablar en español. I'm going to talk in Spanish, but we just met 1 minute before coming here. And then I think we can share our conversation in English in order to be more, to be easier. Bueno, estoy muy contenta de estar aquí. Es realmente un auténtico privilegio, se lo he dicho a Sandra, a todos los que hacéis posible y a los que os acercáis a estas jornadas, tener un momento de reflexión y de pensamiento en todos aquellos conceptos que nos regaló Camus, que ahora mismo se vuelven, es que no diría ni de actualidad, se vuelven de una necesidad incomprensiblemente ardiente, y creo también que estar aquí a día de hoy, en todo lo que acaban de decir todos nuestros compañeros previos sobre la desesperanza, el ruido, la tragedia, sobre las posibilidades o no de la expresión, el compromiso ante un mundo incomprensible que camina por esos lugares, se convierte en un acto tan poético y tan político juntarse en persona, que es alucinante, ¿no? Me parece que tiene algo de extraordinario, de ya no es ordinario, ya no es lo normal. Estar todos juntos, escucharnos, compartir idiomas, compartir ideas, compartir vuelos, compartir fangos, compartir maneras de salir del fango, volvernos a preguntar qué es lo que en el fondo, y aquí retomo con lo que hacemos nosotros lo hacemos desde una forma visual, desde las artes visuales que se preguntan con el resto de artes, con un poco la premisa que nos han dado de punto de partida para nuestra conversación, la cultura como lugar para inventar espacios nuevos, y si la cultura al degradarse nos acerca a la servidumbre. La cultura, en primer lugar, es eso que decía Camus, de ese esfuerzo desesperado para darle forma a nuestro sueño más clarividente, pero es también, de una manera reiterada, una búsqueda de plenitud, personal y colectiva, y un cómo es posible que queramos y podamos hacer eso tan extraño que es seguir viviendo juntos. Cada gesto artístico es lo único que busca. Entonces, claro, cuando nos planteaban este pensamiento de partida de que todo lo que degrada a la cultura acorta los caminos que conducen a la servidumbre, es cierto. Decía Montaigne que, paradójicamente, es en los momentos de derrumbe cuando más necesario se hace el arte. Y, sin embargo, es en los momentos de derrumbe o es en los momentos de confusión o es en los momentos de aceleración, de ensordecimiento como el que tenemos ahora, cuando la cultura quizá se la desprestigia, se la banaliza, se la degrada, se la deja en ese lugar que no es necesario, porque realmente no es necesaria. Ayer lo decía Leila, hacemos algo, lo decía García Márquez también, que si bien se mira, dejamos nuestra vida por el camino y no sirve para nada. Yo hoy no voy a hablar de mis películas, quiero hablar de una sola película al final de mi intervención, que es de Wim Wenders. Y Wim Wenders se preguntaba con esta su última película le preguntaban si el arte es transformador. Y él decía que no lo es per se. Lo que pasa es que ofrece un viaje, el que sea, que no sirve para nada, un juego, una posibilidad que no existe en tu vida, que hace que tú te transformes. El viaje después de cualquier acto artístico, de cualquier historia, de cualquier canción, te transforma. Cualquier imagen realmente significativa, ávida de significado, te transforma. Cualquier palabra ávida de significado te transforma. Y si te transforma a ti, eres tú entonces quien tienes la capacidad de transformar el mundo. Quizá no el arte per se. Y cuando le quito ese peso al arte, se lo quito también para que realmente podamos volver a ese lugar de juego, a ese lugar donde no es necesario el resultado, donde no se gana y se pierde, donde no se obtienen beneficios directos, no se obtienen utilidades directas, o no se debería, sino que es un acto suspendido en algo muy serio, que es una felicidad honesta y que crea algo que no estaba delante de ti. Aunque ya sé que lo sabemos todos, para preguntarnos sobre si nos acercamos a la servidumbre, sobre la cultura, sobre el arte, no está de más preguntarse qué es lo que pretende el arte, lo que pretendemos en nuestro caso, con la creación de mundos desde la imagen. Yo creo que es algo que hacen ellos dos y que yo intento hacer de otras maneras, hay un imperativo que es mirar donde no se quiere mirar. Está el periodismo, está la historia, está la política, que necesitan hablar de lo que se quiere mirar y todos queremos mirar y discutir. El arte tiene que mirar el abismo, tiene que mirar donde no se quiere, donde no se puede, girar la cabeza a donde, si todos estamos mirando para allí, el arte debería hacernos esto permanentemente. Ahí está el dolor, ahí está la mierda, ahí está la alegría. Ahí está la chispa, ahí está lo inexplicable, ahí están las preguntas que no pueden ser respondidas nunca, porque esto es lo que es el arte. El camino a la servidumbre, por tanto, creo que se genera cuando en el arte, que mira donde no quiere mirar y que tiene la capacidad, como tenemos, porque somos, si volvemos a la base, somos algo tan absolutamente increíble, que ser seres simbólicos, proyectivos. Somos la única criatura que se adelanta, que genera algo que no existe enfrente de ti. Y en eso consiste todo lo que estamos hablando hoy. En la génesis de algo que no existe. Eso es jugar. Jugar es ensanchar tu existencia empequeñecida, generando un mundo y unas lógicas que no existen. que no estaban ahí. Eso es alucinante, si lo pensamos. Esa capacidad de imaginar, de generar otros mundos, otras posibilidades, otros seres que no eres tú, ver a otros seres que no eres tú, comprender a los otros que no eres tú, ser tú mismo el que esos otros que no eres tú, vivir tiempos y espacios, posibilidades anímicas, físicas, espirituales que no siquiera eran las tuyas. Suspenderte en ese lugar que ya no tiene ni nombre, que no tiene ni manera de nombrarse, como es lo poético, tiene una capacidad de transformación o de salto y de visión que nos convierte verdaderamente en criaturas excepcionales. Cuando la cultura se degrada, lo único que se hace es desgastarla, estrecharla, cortarla. Da igual que se haga desde un ámbito muy pragmático y logístico y concreto y político, quitándole recursos, quitándole espacios, quitándole canales. Da igual que sea por sobresaturación, que lo explicabais muy bien ahora, sobresaturación de más canales, más espacios, más discursos, más palabras, más historias, más imágenes, creando un enjambre de ruido y de fango, empujando a la mierda, como estabais diciendo, a las tormentas de mierda, a una especie de espirales. ¿Qué es peor? ¿Estrechártelo hasta dejarte en un dogmatismo, en los dogmatismos que dicen la cultura es, cualquier frase que empiece la cultura es, no entiende la cultura. El arte es, nadie puede encajonarlo en un lugar. Tiene tantas posibilidades que quien en su planteamiento, en su pensamiento, empiece por lo que es, lo que tiene que ser, lo que deberías ver, lo que deberías decir, va antitéticamente contra el juego y contra la imaginación y contra la cultura per se. Ahí ya se estrecha. Entonces, obviamente, los dogmatismos, las brochas gordas, todos esos caminos hacia ver la realidad solo sin el cromatismo de los miles de posibilidades del color, sino con los blancos, los negros, los bandos, estrechamente, rígidamente. Eso nos empobrece, eso nos lleva, eso lo hemos visto a lo largo de la historia, cómo nos lleva hacia la servidumbre, cómo estrecha el pensamiento, nos estrecha a nosotros y ya no vemos nada más. Y ya no podemos preguntarnos nada más. Porque imaginar te obliga a preguntarte, te obliga a generar unas preguntas invisibles que a veces no eres ni consciente y que tú sola te vas contestando conforme vas creando. Pero la otra posibilidad de... Bueno, el otro peligro que ha aparecido ahora, creo, en la sociedad moderna, con las redes, con la simultaneidad, con el ruido de ese enjambre digital que no te deja ver, que es un zumbido permanente que tampoco deja hablar, que tampoco permite el contacto, que al final te vuelve a alejar, te vuelve a cegar, te vuelve a estrechar y vuelve a degradar la cultura y, por tanto, nos vuelve a poner en un lugar más cerca de la servidumbre. Además de unas servidumbres muy invisibles y muy dolorosas. Hay algo que a mí me conmociona, que es cómo vamos siendo empujados con unos ruidos ensordecedores y unas toxicidades visibles o invisibles, a veces con dulzuras, y nos llevan a una dolorosísima ductilidad y docilidad de muchas maneras. Hay un blanqueamiento también el emblanquear, al emblandecer. También la cultura, lo digo porque a veces el ruido, lo violento, nos dedicamos al dolor, a esa parte objetivamente negativa y dolorosa que tiene nuestro imaginario, de ver la barbarie, de ver el arte violento, pero a veces una distopía honesta, como una utopía honesta, te puede devolver un reflejo igual de nutritivo para entenderte a ti y el mundo. El gran problema son esas intenciones y esos enjambres ensordecedores donde cuando te aceleran y no te dejan ver, te dejan en la maraña, que te ata, y efectivamente ahí ya estás enredado en la servidumbre. Hay algo en la parte que a mí, como yo lo entiendo, como la única manera que yo sé hacer, ahora luego quiero que aquí los compañeros cuenten las suyas. Yo hago películas y en las películas, como me ha parecido muy bonito, Sandra, porque hay solo un impulso en las películas que yo repito, que aprendí de Leonard Cohen, que lo había aprendido de Lorca, que decía que era trabajar simplemente desde el impulso que implica unos estrictos márgenes de la dignidad y la belleza, que al mismo tiempo son infinitos, con lo cual no serán tan estrictos los márgenes si la dignidad y la belleza tienen infinitas posibilidades. En mi caso creo que hay algo que lo dijo muy bien, con una precisión de un vuelo sutilísimo ayer Leila, cuando hablaba de la infancia, cuando hablaba del juego, cuando hablaba de vaciarse, cuando hablaba de que quizás una manera de inventar mundos, la que yo entiendo, la que yo sé, la que a mí me ha transformado verdaderamente, la que a mí me ha construido desde muy pequeña, era encontrar en ciertos reflejos de luz tenue, en una búsqueda de cierta luz, de ahí que yo construya con la imagen, una luz que te eleva algo, que abre la pupila y que te permite ver lo que no ves. Y esa luz muchas veces es algo, no diré que epifánico, que suena un poco religioso, pero sí diré que son descubrimientos que te regala el mundo y nada más que el mundo y el presente, de conciencia de belleza que te da tantísimo aire en la respiración que crees de verdad que todo es posible. A veces eso lo contaba ayer Leila desde el propio Sísifo, que semejante esfuerzo al subir la roca, había un momento al bajar que el esfuerzo había sido tan grande que tomabas una conciencia en la bajada, desde el agotamiento, pero con una hermosura tal que realmente pudiera ser, que es cierto que pudiera ser que hubiese un Sísifo feliz. Y ese instante, que es un instante, hacer películas, yo hago películas, y hacer películas es esencialmente sufrir. Lo dice Fernando Trueba y es verdad. Es solo sufrir, es solo resolver problemas de la realidad, porque tú quieres generar un mundo, la realidad tiene muchísimas limitaciones. Traspasar lo que hay en tu cabeza, la cabeza de un equipo, y de ese equipo traspasarlo a una imagen, y que de esa imagen haya una lógica comprensiva y un mundo habitable y unas emociones vivibles, pues es precioso, maravilloso, suena, pero es una auténtica infierno, es una pesadilla, porque la realidad te va diciendo no se puede, llueve, no hay luz, se ha caído, el actor no está emocionado, le duele la barriga. Y aún así hay un momento en que ese esfuerzo de todo y hacer películas, os aseguro, las películas son procesos de 4 o 5 años de trabajo, de procesos creativos, desde que te sientas a escribir y tienes que hacer ese proceso de la niña que se vacíe, a la última copia que tienes que grabar en un ordenador en Berlín para mandar a no sé quién. En todos esos años de luchas, de recursos, de logística, de técnica, de esfuerzo máximo de hombres y mujeres luchando contra los propios límites de la realidad, porque la cámara solo puede captar lo que tiene delante, que es la realidad, el presente real, que tú puedes darle hálito, pero no deja de ser otra cosa que el presente real. Hay algo cuando se consigue que es una chispa. Martin Scorsese lo cataloga lo nombra siempre como una chispa inexplicable que te provoca una felicidad inexplicable, fugacísima, imprescindible y suficiente para que todo siga. Supongo, tiene algo que ver con ese verano invencible, que es una chispa, que cabe en una gota de agua, que cada uno encuentra en ese lugar, un lugar como el de ayer, donde el mar habla, las palabras hablan, un lugar al que volver y que hay una felicidad honesta que le da sentido a todo, a ese sinsentido y a ese absurdo. Esa obsesión por reconstruir ese momento, esa chispa que nos obsesiona en el cine es muy bonito porque es un acto colectivo y vives como tanta gente rema a la vez, se levanta a las 4 de la mañana para hacer cosas absolutamente absurdas e imposibles que irán a parar a la nada o no, pero que realmente creen en ese momento de búsqueda de una luz y de la elevación de un vuelo más o menos raso que te permite ver un poco más lejos que tu existencia empequeñecida inevitablemente por las circunstancias de la vida. Esa es la obsesión, esa es la creación de mundos. Eso hace que puedas hacer tableros de juego donde la gente vuela, donde hay dragones o donde pasa prácticamente nada. Cuando en un detalle ínfimo la pupila, esa pupila que os decía, que al menos es el objetivo de mi trabajo, se ensancha para tener una sensación de universo. Yo no quería hablar de mis películas, quería hablar de una película que hablé ayer con Sandra, de Wim Wenders, que no sé si habéis visto, pero que creo que representa muy bien lo que quizá hablemos aquí, que conecta el juego, conecta el reencantamiento, el maravillarse, conecta la creación de mundos desde un váter, un inodoro. No sé si habéis visto una película que se llama Perfect Days, de Wim Wenders, que es del año pasado, que es la historia que me parece absolutamente camusiana, me parece para mí de las películas más absolutamente fascinantes, de un conocimiento, una sabiduría cinematográfica, que hay que ser alguien ya que ha transitado mucho, ya ha llegado ahí para ser capaz de hacer eso, y contar la historia de un hombre que se levanta cada día a hacer una actividad tan pequeña, tan humilde, tan poco dramática, tan poco fascinante como limpiar váteres públicos, y a la que le dedica cada gesto de atención, cada gesto de perfección y cada gesto de hermosura, generando hermosura en la limpieza de un váter. Ese hombre, que luego por la noche lee a Hegel, creo, escucha música, escucha a Nina Simone mientras va a trabajar en su furgonetilla que huele a productos de limpieza, que se pone su mono y una pequeña toalla blanca para el sudor, una cuestión de limpieza, pero qué guapo, qué elegancia. ¿Acaso un smoking es más elegante que ese mono de trabajo con ese toque blanco de luz que le daba aquella? Es que estaba estudiado, me parecía hermosísimo hasta esa toalla. Un hombre que cada día ese momento de apertura de la pupila que se permitía era mirar las hojas de los árboles y ver cómo la luz, al moverse las hojas, genera ese baile de la sombra y de la luz que será siempre distinto y será siempre único y será un acto poético y un acto creativo brutal. Está generando un mundo viendo cómo gira en el viento que esta mañana haya las hojas. Es así como acaba la película, con un hombre que vuelve a limpiar con esas hojas que te recuerdan que ese instante de belleza es único, está ahí, es presente y se repetirá. No sé, yo trabajo desde ahí, creo que solo buscando esos instantes de luz, a mí me obsesiona la consistencia, la esencia, la construcción más poética de la imagen, entendiendo por poético cuando en el azar y vorágine y empuje hacia adelante del eje horizontal, histórico, del tiempo, narrativo y dramático, algo se detiene. Me obsesiona porque creo que ese momento en que todo se detiene te regala algo, ese kairos, que no es el cronos, te regala algo, que es lo que te nutre incomprensiblemente, además, a veces sin palabras, para todo lo demás. Está aquí Esmeralda, que es una gran poeta y que es la madre de una actriz con la que yo trabajé, Greta Fernández, con Blanca Portillo, para intentar hacer un personaje que era Teresa, Santa Teresa, una mujer que en nuestra versión estaba azotada por las dudas y solamente buscaba desesperadamente un poco de luz, un poco de un sí. Un sí. Y ese sí, que es lo único que necesitamos, ese eterno sí, ese que decía Nietzsche, cuando decía abraza la cara oscura del alma y grita el eterno sí, que es el mismo sí que siente Sísifo cuando baja por un momento agotado, aunque sepa que la piedra está abajo otra vez. Ese sí, que con Greta lo hacíamos en medio de un bosque y ella se miraba las manos y le salían llamas de los dedos, es la forma en que creo que podemos crear todos los mundos posibles, desde una mano a la que las yemas de los dedos le salen fuego, a un hombre que limpia váteres, está buscando el mismo hálito poético que le mantenga vivo. No sé, esa es la posibilidad que creo que por la que tenemos que luchar, o por la que yo lucho, en los estrictos márgenes de la dignidad y la belleza, como a mí me enseñó Lorca, y yo soy profunda lorquiana. Y se resume en un texto que os quería leer y acabar con él, solo 2 ideas más, que es de Simone Weil, que al lado de Albert Camus era una mística, claro. Y sin embargo creo que les hermanan tantas cosas, que como ella expresaba que el deseo de luz ya produce luz. O sea, no hay que buscar tampoco en ningún lugar. Es que el deseo de luz ya produce luz. Y hay un verdadero deseo cuando hay esfuerzo de atención. Es como el esfuerzo de atención que pone Sísifo cada vez que sube con la piedra. Y ese esfuerzo es realmente la luz, lo que se desea cuando cualquier otro móvil está ausente. Y aunque los esfuerzos de atención fuesen durante años aparentemente estériles, y subimos la roca y la bajamos, un día, sin saber cómo, esos esfuerzos, bueno, no un día, ayer lo explicaba muy bien Leila, cada día cuando bajas la montaña te das cuenta que hay una luz exactamente proporcional a la del esfuerzo de la roca que te es devuelta. Per se, porque sí, porque la hoja gira con la luz, como en esa película de Wim Wenders. Simplemente, y ya para dar paso a mis compañeros, en todo esto, que puede sonar muy abstracto, porque me he dedicado a hablar de la luz, porque me dedico al cine y el cine está hecho de luz y movimiento, solo de luz y movimiento, y luego viene lo demás, luego viene la palabra, luego vienen las miradas. Son todas nuestras pupilas juntas las que captan la luz y el movimiento son pantallas, nuestras propias pupilas, que son capaces de hacer estallar el universo, si queremos. Son capaces de al verlo, pueden comprenderlo y transformarlo todo. Pero ahora hay algo escuchando también a los compañeros que nos habéis precedido desde el periodismo, además, bajando un poco más al barro y al fango, que cuenta también Wim Wenders y que por eso representa también esa ética y esa poética camusiana, la película de Perfect Days, en ese hombre que tiene dentro un verano invencible, limpiando inodoros en Japón. Y es la no pérdida, para no quedarme en todas estas, lo aéreo, creo que una de las cosas que es una clave también en todas estas reflexiones siempre es no perder la escala de lo humano. Parece una tontería, estoy diciendo una obviedad como una casa, ya lo sé, pero es que perdemos la escala de lo humano. Es que en cuanto la idea, la maquinaria, supera, olvida la escucha del que tiene enfrente, la pérdida de la escala del ser humano, aparece el fanatismo. Los fanatismos aparecen por la pérdida de la escala humana. Entonces creo que en toda esa poética que parece que la hubiera llevado ahí a las hojas, en realidad todo únicamente está siempre en esa pupila y en la escala, en reflejar en nuestros mundos, siempre en las utopías más honestas y las distopías más dolorosas y más honestas también, en los extremos de los mundos más imposibles, que jamás esos mundos se imaginen perdiendo la escala de lo humano. Y hasta aquí mi reflexión sobre los mundos posibles.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. So first of all, I'm very grateful to be here again for a second year. And I'm grateful more because, as I can see, like we are all coming from very segregated environments, but yet under one roof, sharing life together, which is always beautiful. So good evening. My name is Mohamed Mahdy. I'm a visual storyteller from Alexandria, Egypt. So I do projects usually about marginalized communities at a risk of being erasure because of demolishing, displacement, political neglect, but also projects related to culture and cultural identity, environmental changes. And usually, like as you can see, like I do specific stories. I don't do the current, I don't follow the current. I just do whatever I feel it's right to do and where my heart and my journey will lead me. And usually my projects start with a very simple question. Who the hell am I? To have a point of view. And this is the polite version of asking the question to myself. And also sometimes I wonder like who gets to be remembered and also who gets to be excluded from the narrative. And usually by asking myself that question, it always pushes me to think about, again, who creates these new narratives, a new world, and who to be remembered. And also push me to think about the ethical responsibilities of me and other storytellers when representing others. So usually in my projects, I'm like trying to co-create the project with the protagonist in a sense of like rethinking always the approach of documentary image making by giving them the power to choose how they want to be represented, you know, how they want their stories to be out there, which is always, you know, changing the power dynamic of me coming, you know, from, even if it's my culture, you always feel like you are an outsider. So I'm trying to do that in my projects. And actually, when I was thinking about like the title of our panel today, like culture as a way of inventing new worlds, I was wondering like, what world? Like mine is different than yours and hers and a lot of people. And usually like we coming from a very different and segregated environments. So different ideas, different perspectives, different point of views. So storytellers have the power to create beautiful stories and beautiful world to share, but at the same time we can also destroy world, like how that mountain or island would be beautiful if my brother died there, or if someone said there is a criminal, there is psychos, or someone pointed as another human being and said he's not a human. So I'm trying to, actually my approach started to change where I'm trying simply to use a technique to be a child again. And that means like I go to an environment. I'm not just an observer, but I want to immerse myself. I want to live and I want to perceive as much as I can. Like a child in a new world, you know, to listen, to smell, to touch, and to taste. And to be honest, this feeling of surrendering, it kills that ego that we have, not just as an artist, but also as a human. You come and you think, or you carry your ideas, your perspective, and it could not be true. You could destroy a culture, even if it's your own culture, but you could destroy it by just having a point of view that is not totally correct. So I'm always trying to surrender. And again, like you found out that it's always there, the narrative around us. You just have to listen and just to have, not to have an opinions, especially when you start a project. So I started as a street photographer when I was 13 years old. And I did that for 6 years. Now I'm 28. I grew up finally. So as a street photographer, I think I have learned a lot because, again, like being at a young age and exploring my culture and these new worlds and new narratives to me was magnificent. Again, it taught me a lot of lessons, like I don't know anything, but at the same time, it showed me that photography is not just a tool we use, but also it's a way where we can build bridges, but also a way for understanding, and also could be a testimony, like a powerful thing. But also images, sometimes it's a reminder, you know, and we can save moments and times that we can share it with others and new generations. So I have been doing that for 6 years, where again, I have learned a lot of beautiful things from the interactions with this world and those beautiful people, until I remember that I have met Ami Said. And Ami Said, like usually I learned like to give something back to the community. So I used to print a picture and give it back. And I remember like I took a picture of him. I promised him I will come back after 1 week. And then somehow I got late. I came after 2 weeks. And then when I entered the area, one of the protagonists or like the resident of the area, he actually saw the images and he took it from my hand, and then he looked at it, and then people started to gather around him. I started to say, oh no. And he said like, this man has passed away like 2 days ago. I was 16 years old back then, or 17. I felt guilt, like I promised him and I didn't come. So what happened is I sat on the ground, I wrote a personal like note to his family, like, I'm sorry, I got late, he was so nice, he allowed me to take a picture, and I asked one of the residents to please give his portrait to his wife. And then I came after 2 weeks. Of course, I left with a kind of guilt, but after 1 week, I came back. One of the residents saw me, and then he said, aren't you the photographer who took the images of Ami Said? I was like, yeah, and he said, like, his wife was asking about you, if you can come and maybe you meet her. I was like, yeah, why not? And then he asked her if I can come up. I went to her, and she was sitting, and her daughter right next to her, and she asked her, can you please bring the photograph? And she went and brought it, and then she held it, and I noticed that the paper was wet, like it feels someone was crying over it. And then she looked to me in my eyes, and this is the magic of life, that sometimes people look in the eyes, and then you never become the same person again. And she said, I don't know, how did you take that picture? He hates photography, and we don't have a picture of him. And this is the only thing we have of him now. And that feeling of guilt has immediately changed, because I felt for the first time that photography and storytelling, it couldn't be just about me. Usually you think like it's my image, it's my picture, my. But at the end, you know, it's also they are part of that narrative. And I felt like I need to do a narrative that not just I enjoy it, but also it means something to someone, you know, like this photographs. So I started with a small projects. I live close to the sea in Alexandria. And I remember that day I was coming, you know, and you can see the sea at the end of that big street. And then I found like a horse running. And then behind it, I found a horse running, but there is a monkey who riding that. And then a bird flying behind them, and then a dog. And I was wondering like how this happened. Like I just had a normal breakfast. So I ran, I remember that day, I ran quickly, and I found the monkey. It was the one who was riding. And I was like by asking them what's happening. And I figure out that a family spending their summer with their animals, just like that, you know. So they love to enjoy it and bring all the animals with them from Cairo to Alexandria. So they have monkeys, they have birds, they have everything. And also they have these Palestinian horses where they trade it through Rafah tunnel in Egypt by giving oil and sugar and rice and stuff like that. So it was very beautiful just to encounter this world. And other small stories where I was discovering and growing over my career, like this one, I saw this beautiful young man, and I asked them, like, why you are wearing the same clothes? And he said, like, we are showing our love and our friendship by wearing the same clothes in our celebration, like especially after Ramadan. And again, like in our culture, no one knows that, but it's usually you get to know a new world and a new narrative by just asking a simple question. So I was just looking for them everywhere, just trying to find them on the coronation of Alexandria and both them. And even they were describing beautiful stories, like we went to the same shop together, everyone in a different direction, and we got the same outfit at the end. We don't know how, but we are synced. So it was beautiful. Even sometimes you feel like they are twins because of, you know, how they were the same. So this drove me again, like to my first long-term project. It's called Moondust, and it's 5 minutes where I live in Alexandria. And again, like I feel that the stories sometimes choose me. And then I was meeting with one of my friends, Mohamed Mahdy, and he said, like, we are moving from that area because my young sister was about to die because of asthma. And I was like, I have asthma, but how it kills you? And he said, like, you have to go there. You have to see what's happening. So I felt this is something to do, something to follow. So I went to the area, and I figured out, like, if you can see, this is the area, 60,000 residents lives in it, and there is a cement factory was built 10 meters away from the residential area. So it's surrounded with also petrol factory, chemical factory, and salt factory. So they call it, like, now it's not Moon Valley, it's a Hell Valley. So what we figure out collaborating with doctors that, you know, children start to born with asthma since the first day. So it's become something in their gene. They take it from their mother. And what I was thinking about is to document their stories and, you know, to see how the emissions affecting them. It's not just producing cement, but it's work with coal and garbage and burns them. And then instead of finding ethical ways of containing the damage, it spread it to the air, which increase the pollution. So I was trying to prove that the people were here first before the cement factory, and we found a lot of evidence, like renting paper. It was like a Jewish woman living in Alexandria called Deva Konena, and it was in 1927, and the factory was built in 1948. So we proved that because they had a lot of conflict in the court, in the Egyptian court, like who came first. So after we proved that, I started to document and immerse myself for like almost 3 years, a documentary project where actually Jessica Morai, one of the audience, was involving in that project and helped me a lot. So I was documenting people's stories, you know, and personal stories and how cement affected them and destroyed their life as a children. You know, you cannot go out, you cannot play. And I remember, like, Adri, he passed away, Allah yarhamu, and he called me once. He said, like, you have to come and see. Like, I forgot my window open for a week, and this is what happened. Come quickly and document that. So here, like Amal, she just opened the window for half an hour, and there is 1 inch of cement and dust gathered. And here on the other side, like, I forgot her name, Farouk, and she said, like, I got tired from just cleaning every 1 hour. So usually people are putting plastic bags because of the cement, but increase the heat. Like I showed that in a documentary movie. So also because of the oven is very close to the houses, so all the cracks that you can see, it's coming because of the vibration that crack the houses, and sometimes the roof fails. And all of these personal stories about how fathers and families feel when one of their children have an asthma, but they can't do anything. And Abdurrahman, when I met him, he said, like, you know, the doctor told him, you're gonna die soon because of that. And again, it was finding a ways of doing a surgery to him. So I did that project, but again, I was always thinking, like, how to create, a world for everyone where they can witness what's happening, not just myself. Even here, it was a beautiful story. Like Amal, she said, I want to see my house beautiful as everyone. So with each new crack, I put a new sticker. So she was hiding all the cracks with stickers. So what happened is I decided to create an exhibition because I wanted to invite the protagonist. I want to invite actors, journalists, almost everyone in Egypt, so they can witness what's happening. I remember I went to a company called Ismailia, and they have a cement garage in the downtown. I told them I need that garage because it was it filled with cement, it wasn't decorated or anything, and they gave it to me for free. I remember Bertan, he was a friend from Prince Claus. I asked him, I just need 500 euro, and I'm gonna do a change with it. And 500 euro was a good money converting to Egyptian currency. So I did the printing, I did a small publication with the research, with doctors. We brought the people with buses to attend the exhibition. And actually, it became alive. So we offered all the work to be on sale and all the profit to go and support the family, 100%. And actually, we sold 13 photographs in the first day. So what happened is, again, a lot of people under one roof, everyone having a different authority, a different power, and then this idea of oneness, that when we collaborate with a good intention, with a good purpose, magic happens. So after that exhibition, I got a call from New York Times and Amnesty where it increased the exposure of what's happening. And again, this case has been opened in Egypt, and after 3 months, the factory started to install filters to the chimneys. And this was a huge step. It's temporary, but it was good. And actually, the exhibition started to travel to many places like France Biennale and Institut du Monde Arabe, Gulf Photo Plus, Photovel, and Geopolis. And then actually, before I come here, the last months, the court started to judge 2 people, and they started to take compensation for the damages that happens to them. So finally, it started to happen after almost 10 years. But again, this project time was showing me that, again, when we collaborate, when we have a purpose, changes happen, and narrative and storytelling could have that power of, moving. I think Paula said something like that, drop, in the river of water, and it creates a ripple effect. A very quick project, also the one that I won the award here last year, where also it's a recent project, and it's about, again, my neighborhood called Al-Max, and it's a fishing community, one of the oldest in the whole Middle East. They call it Little Venice because it has the same vibe and beauty of the Italian Venice. And again, I was documenting the people's story because they got a notification from the government they will be demolished and their culture will fade away without any explanation. And this has not happened, they don't explain to you. So I was documenting that for years, but again, how to surrender to the environment and how to do something not just about my point of view. And I was here documenting that feeling of waiting because they have been waiting and they don't know when they will come. And you can see it's a very beautiful area. Actually, I used to go when I was studying art to just practice there, drawings and a lot of things. So people were very angry, were very mad, but also very sad. They don't know what happened. And then the demolishing started to happen. Until now, 1/3 of the area has been demolished, and the rest will go soon. We don't know when. So the beautiful thing, again, by surrendering, and I remember I asked of one of the fishermen, we were having a discussion, and he said something very beautiful about the cultures that they used to throw letters into the sea, because they believe in my culture that the sea is a creature from God, and he will take all of your words immediately to him. And they started to narrate a beautiful story about Amm Balouti, who went to someone he couldn't write, and he told him, please, I want to write a story to God and a letter. And he told me, okay, tell me. And then he said, hey, God, I have a very old boat and very old equipment, and I have 3 daughters. I want to help them to get married, but I want you to give me, not because I have equipment, but because you can, and you created everything, so you can do anything. And they said he took that letter and he threw it to the sea, and this is a year he is the most fishers who got fishes, even with his old equipment. So when I was researching about the idea of letters, I found it usually has been used at war when someone about to die in the sea, and he writes his last letter, and then he put it on a bottle and he threw it. So what was happening in the area back then, that our media usually defaming, communities and neighborhoods that they want to demolish. So when they demolish them, no one feel a sense of compassion. So we wanted to change that, and again, give them the power to narrate their own story. So I started to give them blank papers and asking them, this is your last letter, just write whatever you want. And actually it was more authentic than what I was doing. And actually, like some of those letters, it's beautiful. It's about the individual memories. Someone writing a daughter about his daughter, someone writing a poem, someone, a beautiful woman, Karam, she wrote like that she builds a house with her husband, and she remembered he was so kind, filling the holes with paper to protect her from cold, coming at night, wrapping her with a plastic bag, and she had a tree that she planted in front of her house, and every morning when she read or recite Quran underneath it, the birds gather around her, so it was her heaven. But when they took that house from her and they put her into a temporary room, she said, if they moved me again from here, I don't care. Here the doors do not know me and the windows do not recognize me, which shows that people are connected to their environment, to their memories, and to their houses, not just an object. It's a living thing. It's a part of their memories. And these individual, actually, memories and identity, it's what creates the collective identity. And by breaking that, you are breaking the history of what's happening today. So actually collecting those letters and asking them, how do you want to be represented? How do you want others to see you? It changed, again, the whole project by surrendering to them, You choose your way of being represented. It brought a lot of new narratives and a lot of new pictures. But also I was collecting pen pal evidence. I was collecting drawings from locals who drew it on the houses and boats, all the maps of the area. And also what we found out that when the protagonists started to give me their archives, I have like over 800 archival images. We decided to create an interactive website where, again, like how to make an impact, how to change the situation. And here it was different because they needed exposure and to challenge what's happening in the media. So in that interactive, I recommend you to go and check it because the time it would be too much. But the idea was like to hover and you see the letter, but also the protagonist read it with his voice, but also where I created a profile where also you can send them a letter. And we created a group for them. Now it's very big in Alexandria, where we are sharing all of these letters with the community so they don't feel abandoned. And actually that project won World Press Photo, both regional and a global award. And actually Jessica again was involved in that project. Jessica, you are in my life, all the steps. So, and the magic happened again by surrendering. We started to receive thousands of letters across the world in English and German and French and Spanish and Chinese and a lot of language, and people sharing what does a home mean, what does a memory mean. People sharing the same experience that happened, because in World Press it travels to all over 100 countries. I just asked them to have a writing station. That's it. I didn't do anything with those letters, but we hope it's going to be in the book that we are creating now. So again, like the protagonists become very enthusiastic and they faked an ID to me, so I'm officially a fisherman now, so I can go and live with them in the sea. And again, I wasn't expecting all of that, but this opened a door to discover another layer of the project, another piece of a bigger portrait. Because to be honest with you, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you will never convey a full portrait, a full image. It's always like fragmented, it's always fragile, and we try to bring pieces. So what I'm telling to myself, I have to gather as much as I can and allow the audience to, also create their own narrative and see as much as they can. It's part of the responsibility. So it was very beautiful, again, to have a new layer in the sea. But also after that, I felt like, usually when I was showing the archive images of the project, like people used to look at it in a nostalgia way, like I want to live in the past was so good. But again, I was always feeling like if we are breaking, the individual identity now, the individual memories and the collective memories of today, this is the history of the people. And we are afraid that we're gonna lose that because we actually are losing that. So I wanted somehow to create this terminology called a broken memory. What does a broken memory means in a broken society, And I thought if I broke their past, the nostalgia that we get from the archive image, with the present, which is the demolished houses, I can get close to that terminology. So it was an experimentation by merging the archives. I have over 800 archival images with the demolished houses, that has been gone. And, and we started to get a new layer of the project. No one has seen that work before. So you can see the textures of history with their own walls. So yeah, I just want to end that so I don't take much time. And I would like to say in a word that forgets too quickly, and I recall a phrase from Naguib Mahfouz, an Egyptian writer, who said, like, the disease of our neighborhood, that they are forgetfulness, which we forget too quickly. And I was thinking that, like through culture and through art and storytelling, we remember, and through it also we rebuild. It's always a reminder, but again, it will be always a reminder unless we do a step, a change, and I always see that happen by collaboration, no matter who you are, like a writer, a photographer, a filmmaker, a curator, when we gather for a purpose with different authorities, we always do a change. That's it for today. Thank you.
Hello. Hola, hola. Hola, España. My name is Salman Nawati. I feel you are tired. Sorry. My name is Salman Nawati. I'm from Gaza, original. I left Gaza in 2021, the end of 21. I'm a survivor from 5 wars, but I missed the genocide, but my family is still there. Thank you, Sandra, for inviting me to be here after all this year of culture of denial as a Palestinian in Gaza, especially. We grow up with this kind of culture of denial that no one care about your voice. The world did not know that much about the human and the creativity side and the education that we get and how excellent we are as a Palestinian. So, about this question of culture as a space to invite new words, I thought about the title and tried to link it with my project as an artist. First of all, what does inventing a new word mean in our time? And is it an urgent need or necessary? To answer this question, I will get back to my experience as an artist. I was wonder that I didn't grow up with this kind of situation to feel I'm always wanted to survive. I was wonder all the conflict between any people in general. It's just a game or just a play. So I create a project, call it Conflict, and I try to embody the different perspective of this kind of conflict. And I use the chess as a tool. Like why we cannot use a chess just if we wanted to fight as a people or different culture or different religion, I don't know. And at the end, no one will die. So just there is a loser and there is a winner, and after that we replay. Here in this artwork, I try to ask myself a question. Could we survive in an imagination? And that's me and my wife, my children. As you see, like, I'm still in the situation or in the environment of this kind of conflict, but it's not a conflict, it's occupation and colonization that I didn't choose it. I grew up, like I born in 1987, the first Intifada, and I smelled the Israeli gas when I was 7 days. So from there, I start my relation with this kind of occupation. But I'm always try to keep the little child inside me alive with imagination. So it was a question, and it's success. I'm here now, and my children, my wife also here, but I don't have the enough imagination of power imagination to take all my family to survive. So, as a culture, the question of culture, I always think about culture as a tool, as a tool of resist. And here, in this painting, I sit in the culture and I try to play piano just to resist the power of all the things that against us, the occupation, the religion, the capitalism, all the people, they have the power just to redesign us or to control us. And I embody them as an elephant. And I believe that culture and art you can face this people, but you need to be a little bit smart how and when. So, in this context, I asked a question, but I didn't find the answer. We will discuss about it. The new word to be invented about creating a new culture, or is it the new culture that created? We will see. But what should looks like? I always remind myself of my grandmother house. It's one of the most important house for all of us, like each one, I think, because it reminds me about the first place that has everything: the family, the culture, the empathy, the museum, the education, the beauty, and etc., etc. So what we are lost in this time, from my perspective, that we lost the kitchen as a culture. We have very modern kitchens, but all these kitchens didn't have any of empathy, any of collective family, any of like really collective cooking together. If we back to the past, that when I remember my grandmother and all the women, like my mom and others, they met and they cook together, and they, in around this table, they create a culture, they take decisions, and in the hide part of this house, my grandmother hide all the very expensive collection, and it's a little museum. So, in my opinion, if we find a way to get back or to restore our old kitchen as how it was, we will have established ground to start from. But if we still like very far away of the meaning of where the culture started from, we will continue lost. Another question about the ability of shaping the future through culture. I think everything is possible. For me, since 3 years I left Gaza, I discovered like why we are communicating English. And I start to realize more and more and observe like why we should continue in English. I hate this language. I appreciate that the Spanish people are not good in English. I feel, wow, finally, I found my people. I hate it, and I don't like it because of the colonial culture they dominate in all the world. How they just collect all the information and publish it in English. All the resources will in English. The AI in English. Everything in English. So when under the genocide, we try to go up of the censorship. So we try to create some words against this to access and to send our messages, but it doesn't work. So I have a project. Let's create our own new language against all these languages. Everyone can keep his language, but we should create language for all the free people that they believe there is no need for the English language or any colonial language. Like we wanted to do when we want like to make a demonstrate. Why we demonstrate in English? Like we free Palestine. We should have our own. So the reason came from here, and I met a lot of people, my friends and other people that I met, and we discussed that. And after that, I find it's very useful. So anyone can join. And here in Italy, I write Free Palestine in my own language. Or it's not my own, our language, because this language, it's the we or nahnu in Arabic. So it's not for anyone. It's not for one. It's for everyone. And it's very, very easy and very simple. So this is about the ability. No one will ask. We live in a world that one can go and it changed all everything in the world in the world in 1 day or 1 hour. And he said, let's make this, and all they said yes. And another morning he changed his mind and say, let's do another. So I think we all have the right to do whatever we want. But what we need, I realize that if we still work individual, we will never achieve our goals. So if we really wanted to succeed, we need to work collectively, together. As much as we have this kind of collective work, like as you say in your film, you feel this kind of collective, and you say also, and Sandra mentioned the collective that make this happen. So we always talk about collectives, but we don't keep it as a methodology to continue like lifestyle. Why we just became a collective when we have when we have a subject or a project we wanted to do it to make success, we remind us, let's work collectively. And after that, everyone goes his phone and we became individual again. So this is my thoughts that, and because of that, I try to do something 100% collectively and against all this kind of power of capitalism, occupation, etc., etc. And we create our own museum. Because as an artist, when I was just a dream to present my artwork in fucking museum, sorry to this word, because I was educated that if you achieve and your painting or your artwork became exhibited in a museum, you became, oh, this is the last stage. And we grow up with this culture of denial, as I said, so we don't have galleries to achieve exhibition. We cannot go out of Gaza. So the idea became, let's make our own museum, and we give this opportunity for everyone, for the artists in Gaza, for the artists in the world, for the people they believe in the freedom. And we broke all the rules about the museums. Like we are not agree about how the museums looks like now. So we create our museum to redefine the meaning of the museum. Sahab, it's cloud. And the cloud, it's a place that we apply and our archive there. So we try to redefine the meaning of a cloud in English to be an Arabic way in Sahab. It's a cloud. So Sahab, it's a museum, imaginary museum for Gaza. Start like this, but now it's became a imaginary museum for all the Palestinian and all the people they support Palestine. There is no war. We build it as real, just floor, and this is the first one. The second rule about you can touch the collection inside through the VR. There is no security, there is no tickets. You can resize the collection. If you choose one painting, for example, you choose how big it will be or how small. You can draw this and make your creation. So everyone attend this place as a virtual space. He has the right to exhibit this as he wish or as they wish. And the museum became more than collective. It was a necessary, but now it's became emergency. Because we try to make workshops with the artists, with the people, they have stories. We try to archive as much as possible from our narrative, from our heritage, because the destruction, it's unbelievable, and you cannot measure it. What you see in the media, it's 10% from the reality. We lost our structure, infrastructure, and our city, but we don't lost our narrative, our archive. So, as a community or as a collective, we realize that only our community, they can decide how they wanted to archive and how they wanted to present them heritage and archive and the collection. This is like everything. I think, and it's not enough, but regarding our capacity, we are like very little people against 90% of the war. I know there is a lot of people, they are support Palestine and they stand with Palestine, but indeed, they are very weak. Like the system that the human being built it, it's really very heavy, and they cannot redesign it. Like what's happening now for everyone, like I observe, I was taught and believe in this kind of freedom and the democracy in Europe and America and everywhere in the West and the East. But for me, I discovered that all the people, all the world live under colonial, but in another, like, we have the occupation direct and we know it, but the other, they thought that they are free, but sorry, I live here now, and I don't feel this kind of freedom. I don't feel like even the people they are create this system, they cannot improve it, and then they still try to protect it, but I think we need to redefine the meaning of freedom, the meaning of democracy, the meaning of like what we are as a human. But it's not hopeless. There is always hope, because I believe if we keep the little child in ourselves alive, and we get back to play and to active this child, we will restore the space of empathy, the space of collectively, the space of love, to redesign our future in the way that we all agree about. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. 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 Thank you.
Maybe you can give the word. You can
Give the-
give the word to the audience.
Yeah, if anyone wanna to have a question or
A
Sí.
question back there. Is there a mic?
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Can I have a little?
Yeah.
Hola, me ha gustado mucho la intervención de Salman. ¿Por qué? Porque ha abordado un tema muy importante para los niños pequeños, que es la lengua maternal. Porque poder transmitir la lengua maternal es la mejor manera de trabajar contra la violencia. Y les voy a dar un ejemplo menorquí. Desde que estoy en esta isla, todo el mundo se empeña en hablarme en inglés. Todo el mundo. Nadie me habla en castellano, aún menos en menorquí. Lo que no saben cuando me ven es que soy catalán. Soy de Barcelona. Y yo me he criado en Barcelona en los tiempos del franquismo. Y en la familia se hablaba el catalán. Era una lengua de resistencia. Y lo digo también porque Salman y Leila han hablado de sus abuelas. Imagínense el problema en Francia actualmente cuando hay niños que no pueden hablar con sus abuelos y sus abuelas porque no conocen la lengua. Es la primera de las violencias. Y yo, como especialista de la pequeña infancia, les puedo decir que cuando un niño no puede estar en la transmisión familiar, es imposible para él vivir en un mundo de humanidades tolerantes y abiertas.
Muchas gracias. Yo me sumo a tu idea de que a través de la cocina podemos cambiar el mundo. ¿Me sigues? A través de la cocina, según lo que comemos, podemos cambiar el paisaje, podemos cambiar el mundo. Durante la época del confinamiento por el virus, aprendimos de nuevo a cocinar, cocinamos para nosotros. Despacio, la naturaleza se resurgió, se puso maravillosa. ¿Recordáis durante el confinamiento? Bueno, quizá estoy proponiendo ya un ramadán ecológico cada año, a fin de aprender a cocinar todos y además pasárnoslo bien, ¿de acuerdo? Y alrededor de la cocina común, colectiva, aprender a cocinar. Con producto local, sobre todo, recordad, hemos de utilizar el producto local y de temporada. El planeta se está calentando mucho y según cómo comamos podemos enfriar el planeta. Hay que comer menos carne, hay que comer producto local, muchas verduras, mucha fruta y estaremos más sanos. ¿De acuerdo? Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bueno, vamos a cerrar y agradeceros realmente a los tres, ¿no? por habernos abierto a ese espacio de luz y sobre todo yo creo a comprender que necesitamos trabajar en colectivo, de ejercer realmente ese papel en colectivo tan necesario como aplicáis cada uno en vuestras diferentes disciplinas, pero yo creo que nos lo habéis reinstaurado a todas nosotras y por eso os doy las gracias. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra.